Hello and welcome to Angela's Busy Bees Garden and Homestead. Guys, I want to give you an update on all of the gardens today and let you see how everything's growing. Also, I am almost done planting everything, and today is May 15th of 2025. So it's been a little difficult trying to figure out, do I fertilize, do I weed, do I harvest, do I plant? But I've given planting first priority, and then I will go back and do some weeding and fertilizing and all of that. And then also in the process, we've been also doing a lot of harvesting. And guys, I've noticed that over here in my broccoli bed, some of the broccoli is about to flower. So I was hoping for a bigger head, but I'm going to go on and take it before it actually flowers. As you see there, I see I've got some sugar snap peas that I can harvest. Wait on that one. Let's see. I see any more that's ready. Tomatoes are growing here. More broccoli. Some kale. Okra and marigolds. Here is my bed of, and over here next to the sweet potatoes, I have a rose bush, more broccoli, more curly kale, Swiss chard. I'm going to go on and grab some of these while I'm here also. We ate some of these from the first harvest, and they were absolutely delicious. Iceberg lettuce. Brussels sprouts need to be, the bottom leaves need to come off so that the Brussels sprouts can further develop. And in the back, guys, those are cabbages. And wow, look how big they are. Sometimes I'm not quite sure about spacing in a raised bed because you never know how big your food is going to get. And I always want to make sure that they have enough room to reach its maturity. Over here I have another sugar snap pea plant, but I don't see any ready yet. Back here is an onion bed and some alliums that have already bloomed. Here I have more sugar snap peas, and they're putting on. I don't see any that are quite ready just yet. Let's see here. Over here I have tomatoes, basil, peppers, and marigolds in this bed. Over there I have green beans and a bunch of grasses that need to be pulled out of there. It's on my list of things to do. But as you can see, the daylilies are blooming and are looking quite beautiful in the garden. We've been harvesting from the collards over here. I don't know what's causing this, but if anyone knows, please leave a comment. Let's see. Taking these good leaves. Let's see. I had a pepper in here. It's looking so dry. Maybe it'll perk back up. Over here I have corn, carrots, more carrots here, and this is my chamomile here in the middle. This is a potato bed. It also has thyme and a sedum autumn joy plant here. More corn here, and it's the sweet corn. Over here I have my blueberries. They're not ready to be harvested just yet. And of course blackberries are all over the vines. We'll be harvesting very soon with the blackberries. In this bed I have oregano, parsley, sage, rosemary, and a bunch of grass. But again, as I've stated, it's on my to-do list. More collards here. And we've been getting so much rain that I haven't been able to harvest. I'm going to go on and grab these nice leaves now and come back later and try to put some stuff down for pest control. Okay, so this is what the home garden is looking like in my Tennessee Growing Zone 7B. And this is the home garden. Now we're in what I call the market garden. And the first thing you see here is a container of beets. And as you can see, I have beets now that I can harvest out of here. And over here, I have more Swiss chard and kale. And I've planted cabbage along here. In this back bed, I have oregano, white potatoes, and some thyme growing. Lettuce is doing really well, and look like the mustard greens that I planted here is starting to go to seed, but I can harvest some of this lettuce. Some mustard greens here, bunch of blackberries that transferred and rooted itself over in this bed. More mustard greens here in the cells of these cinder blocks. And my celery is starting to curl. I don't know what's causing that, but it's nothing wrong with the part of the celery that I eat in particular. So I'm going to Google and see what can be done about that. It's probably because of the change in temperatures from hot to cold, a lot of rain, completely dry times, just a different shift in the weather. Again, I have more beets that are ready to be harvested. Over here, I can harvest again from the mustard greens. And over here is my potato bed. These are the red potatoes. And as you can see, they have covered this entire bed. And guys, I have trouble with this poke salad. It grows in my yard everywhere, and the more I get rid of it, look like the more it comes. But that's not something that I eat here on the homestead, but I'm going to get rid of that. But here are some red potatoes, and in this container I wanted some flowers, and so what you see coming up right there is my elephant ear. Okay, in this container I have ginger that has not come up yet. This is my asparagus bed that needs weeding for the third time. Over here in this bed I have potatoes, tomatoes, cucumbers, marigolds, and peppers, if I didn't already say it. Over here I have more cucumbers in that container. And guys, these are my David Austin roses. I wish you could have seen them a couple of days ago before all of the rain. They were absolutely beautiful. I mean, they were covered in roses everywhere, and a lot of the petals have already started falling. In this bed I have peppers and marigolds, and they're growing nicely. On this side I have peppers, Brussels sprouts, and broccoli. And if things don't fill out, I'll probably add some additional plants into this bed. Over in this bed, I planted some field peas. And as you can see, I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows. And they've come up beautifully. Then over here is another. Oh my goodness, look at my sage. Guys, sage is one of the herbs that I use a lot here on the homestead. So I have some harvesting to do here. Really excited about that because right now I have no sage in the pantry. So in addition to this David Austin rose, I have a couple of tomatoes. I have some more sage, some collards, lavender, and I think, yeah, lavender is in here. And I have room where I can put something else if I was to try to trellis this rose bush a little bit better. And what you're looking at right here is oregano. Oregano can really, really take over your garden. And I really hate that I planted multiple plants of oregano, because each place where they are, they have just really just taken over a large space in the garden. Over here I have watermelon. Here I have pepper. I think this is either the habanero pepper or the Carolina Reaper. I'm not sure between the two which is which. Over here I have a zucchini plant. Zucchini. And then in this bed I've got tomatoes and marigolds. And a flower back there. I think that is the black-eyed Susan. But all of these here are zucchini plants. More zucchini here. Over in this bed, I have lima beans and the sedum autumn joy, which attracts bees a whole lot. You'll see nothing but bees in this garden just because of these plants here when they begin to flower. But here are my lima beans. And these 4 containers here, these are my crooked neck squash in here. So I'm waiting. I don't think, oh, I'm starting to see zucchini coming on, so that's really good. This is a pear tree right here, and I think it's got 1 or 2 pears on it. Then over here I have my okra and marigolds. This is the potato bed that the girls helped me to plant about a month ago. You see how tall it is? I have added more soil since I planted it, and it looked like it still could use a little more soil. In front of the potatoes in these crates, I have more cabbage. Over here, this is my cabbage bed. There's cabbage and onions in here. And as you can see, they've started forming. And marigolds. Guys, I'm telling you, because of all the rain, the grass is just not cooperating with me. It's just growing like crazy. But in this bed, I have nothing but onions, tomatoes, and I think a few marigolds in this bed. Over here, I have some peppers, more cabbage, and more peppers. I'm hoping it rains today or tonight because everything is looking super, super dry. I may have to water before I go in this evening. Then over here, I have more okra. And as I'm looking at it, I'm seeing here now that some of them have died. So I may add some more okra seeds to this bed. And then over here, I think I've shown you this okra bed. And then over here, this is my peaches and cream corn. And it's growing nicely. And so now you have a full view of the home garden. And then coming around gives you a view of the market garden. And as you can see, I've been collecting cardboard so that I can mulch with my wood chips whenever I can get around to it, and wood chip pile is right there. But this is the market garden, and my goal has always been to grow as much food as I can to feed my family, so that we can see how much we can live off of what we grow. But one thing that I always do as well is I always Google how much of a particular item do I need to feed a family of, let's say, 4. And so it will tell you, Google will tell you, AI will tell you, if you want to grow cabbage, you need X number of cabbage plants to feed your family for a year. Or it'll tell you how many pepper plants to grow to feed your family for a year. And I really like to do that because I don't want to grow just a little bit of something and then still have to go to the grocery store when I could have planted more and placed them in the freezer, or I could have canned them so that they would be on hand. So that's one thing that I do to ensure, that I'm growing enough. And another thing that I do is I plant in multiple areas on the homestead. So if my garden gets attacked by deer or something, I still have food growing someplace else. And then I also grow a little extra because every now and then you want to be able to share what you're growing with other people. So I tend to grow a little more than my family actually needs. But I've truly been blessed, even though last year wasn't as good as previous years. I still have a lot of stuff in the freezer from last year's garden that we haven't been able to eat just yet. And of course, now it's planting time again. So that helps also to, make sure that you have enough food on hand. But this is my garden. And of course, the last garden, not the last, but another garden that I'm going to show you is the butterfly garden and what I have growing there. So this begins my butterfly garden. I've got a collection of different types of flowers like geraniums, marigolds. I've got some peppers here, another pepper over here, a serviceberry bush here, flowers here that have started to bloom. Everything seems to be going so fast this year. It's like the next thing you know, everything's just growing out of hand, and it's like, is it time already for these things to bloom? But I guess so. These are the black-eyed Susans here. Because this is a butterfly garden, I had to place in some host plants. So I'm using this curly parsley as a host plant. Some petunias. This is my banana bush. And all along this wall, I have hanging baskets of different types here in the butterfly garden. And then over here, guys, I'm growing tomatoes here. And this was my, what was it called? It was a citrus plant, kumquat. And as you can see, it's completely dead. More geraniums, lots of flowers here. This is a dill plant. More daylilies. And look what I forgot here, guys. I would have been looking for my bone meal, but I've got 2 tomatoes in here. I've got another berry bush. I don't remember what type. But at the bottom, I've got some Swiss chard. Then over here, I've got more tomatoes and flowers there. Okay. And my second host plant, I think, is the dill that I'm growing. So I'm growing dill for myself and also to attract butterflies. But this is the butterfly garden. And as far as vegetables, I've got Swiss chard, I've got peppers, I've got parsley, dill, tomatoes in this area alone. And there's my greenhouse, guys. For those of you who are watching this video for the first time, that is my greenhouse there. So now I'm going to take you inside to the balcony garden so you can see what things are looking like there. Here we are on the balcony garden, and I have my what are these called? My morning glories coming up this trellis here. I've got some collards that I just planted, celery. I've got collards and flowers down there, geraniums, and all of the little hangers over the rails. Flowers, I've got peppermint here, kale here, and everything is screaming, I need water, which is why I'm not able to do a lot of videos, because it's always so much work to be done in the garden. But here are my strawberries. Here's a pepper plant. More kale, and it is dry as I don't know what, and that's why some of the leaves are hanging over. More peppers. Another pepper plant here. Flowers. herbs and onions, parsley, sage, chamomile, and onions, and all the, oh, there's some basil also, and onions. Another pepper plant. Here are some beets, collards, and flowers there at the bottom. Here is my lemongrass, and I see some morning glories coming up in there as well. I think that looks like a morning glory, yeah. My lettuce is bursting. It needs to be harvested, and they are screaming dry as well. Super, super dry. Here is a zucchini plant. I've never tried growing zucchini on the balcony, so this is my first attempt just to see how it goes. Over here I have the red giant mustards as well as the regular mustards, and there's some harvesting that's needed there. And here I have some lemon balm. Also on the table I have some Swiss chard also that needs to be harvested. I've got a grape plant here that I purchased on clearance. I'm going to find somewhere to put, and I was getting a little impatient with this sweet potato, so I've got some more sweet potatoes to plant in the garden. And over here I have some more of the red giant mustard greens. I brought out a couple of house plants that were inside over and brought them out here. I've got some flowers here in the hanging baskets and some tomatoes growing here in this container. They're growing quite nicely, and I wanted to come over here to see if I can grab some of these yellowing leaves. And as I've stated, everything is just super, super dry. Super dry. That means I'm going to be watering for quite some time because I'm still using the hose, and inside I'm using a water pail and making multiple trips until I can get everything watered. But here we have the balcony garden. I've got one additional garden, guys, and that garden is where I'm growing my sweet potatoes in ground, and I have not planted those as of yet, but once I get everything planted, then I will include that garden as well to my garden tour. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are new to my channel, I hope that you would consider subscribing. As you've seen, I have multiple gardens. I grow food in different places so that if one area is diseased, maybe I can have success somewhere else. But I'm trying to grow as much as I can with the space that I have available. And for example, this balcony garden is a small area, so those of you who may have a small area to garden in, you see how much food you can grow in a limited amount of space. And also I have a market garden, so if any of you are interested in, selling at a farmer's market, then subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so that you can be notified of upcoming videos. And to all of my continued supporters, God bless you. Thank you so much for continuing to stick it out with me. I wish you all the very best. Happy gardening. Bye-bye.